This morning I want to recognize Minister Phipps and all the persons involved in this conference today, which, as has been indicated, is a momentous conference. And I have been asked to represent the Prime Minister today, and I do so with great humility. And as I told Mr. Kevin, who just spoke, that I am not the Prime Minister, and I can never be like him. The Prime Minister is a special person. But in his absence, I've been asked to make some comments here at this conference. And to say to you, our keynote speaker, I'm not giving the vote of thanks, but I want to say as Minister of Labor that you've touched a very important point for myself, because when we talk to our people in St. Kitts and Nevis, and I hear say that they can't find jobs, they're speaking of specific things which have been quantified and qualified as jobs and professions. But as human beings, if we apply ourselves and if we seek to acquire the competent training, one can put his hands to anything. And I think nursing is one such, and I want to thank you for re-echoing something that has been reverberating in my mind for many, many years. Because as Minister of Education in Nevis, and had that same complaint where we cannot find persons to enter the nursing profession. We cannot find persons to enter the security, the police profession. But then when one has to employ others from external sources, then you have another kind of argument. We need to put that argument to rest. And today this conference is one such opportunity to begin the process of saying to our people, males, females, and especially our young men who claim they can't find jobs, but jobs are there if they only apply themselves. This government and the governments of St. Kitts and Nevis have invested very heavily in educating our people. They have opportunities at school to select the courses which will enable them to enter any profession in this country or in the world. And I think it's important that we begin to disavow our people or pigeonholing people. When in other countries we have persons who are male nurses, 11% in Australia, 13% male in the profession in Canada. Why not St. Kitts and Nevis? That is a question that we have to ask ourselves. What is different in our men's or male psyche which say to them that you cannot be a caring person? I know men, boys who have had to care for their parents when they get older. They do it because it is necessary. But I want to present today, on behalf of the Prime Minister, that it is also necessary that we begin to see ourselves as having the capacity to provide that caring, not just on the domestic level, but on the national level. And that is what this conference is about. How do we encourage, challenge, motivate our young men, our people, because we are having difficulties as well having girls, females entering the nursing profession. And I have a bad habit, Madam Chair, when I see people and I ask them, well, why don't you take nursing? And the matron here is smiling because, from Nevis, because she knows my penchant for that kind of behavior. Why don't you go into nursing? It's there. And as you said, Mr. Kevin Allen, and I did write it, but there's a Kevin Isaac somewhere in my subconscious. I keep saying to our people that if you become a professional nurse, you'll never be out of a job. People always need care. People like me getting older. We need somebody to look after us. And I will say, because Minister Phipps understands this, I have just come to this place from the JNF, where I had to get a little bit of treatment for an injury I suffered some 45 years ago. And in talking to one person, the person said to me, you know, when you get those things as a young person, they come to haunt you when you get older. Well, I am old and I'm now being haunted by it. But where do I go? I go to get a nursing care. And I'm not afraid to say it. I mean, who wants to say, well, I'm old? I know that. I was there when I was born. They may not have been there. But it is important that we recognize that this question and this conference of male nurses, why not? And the twist which has been put on it, we need everyone to understand that a profession really has no gender. If you have the capacity, if you've had the training, if you've had the aptitude, and if you have a desire to do something which is helpful, go for it. And nursing is one such area which can make a big difference in the lives, not only of the persons who are nursed or cared for, but the person who cares. And it is, I said 51 years ago, we had someone, a male nurse here in St. Kitts. It's a long time. But since that, I don't know that we've had any others. In Nevis, we have 2 male nurses. Matron, are they from Nevis? They are from overseas. If someone male from overseas can come to our country and undertake the profession of nursing for our people, why is it not even possible, why is it not therefore necessary for us to see that here our males can do the same thing? And it's a question we have to stop, instead of sending everybody overseas. And I have nothing against people going overseas to study business administration. They go to study business administration, but they come back and want the government to hire them. How many business administrators the government can hire? And I'm not speaking here now as the Prime Minister's representative. I'm speaking as someone who is a citizen of this country, who have had to deal with this issue. And those necessary areas of employment which are there, which we shun, and which we hire people in to do, and then we shun them. Where is the sense in that? This sounds like a political statement, but it is a political statement, because we have to make certain that we get our people to understand more widely and get out of the narrowness of what we have been accustomed to. We have to broaden our outlook, our perspectives on what is work. And I said, as Minister of Labor, I keep being asked, what are the new areas of employment for our people? But this is one area, it's not new. It's so old that people think that it's old is no good. That's not true. I may sound facetious and tell the truth because it is something which I feel passionately about. And I will ask the Prime Minister when he hears or sees to forgive me for trespassing out of my little area of purview. But the government does spend money on training people. We have the nursing program at the CFBC with the University of the West Indies. We have passed through, I think in the last 3 or so years, about 44 students. We have 4 who were passed out in 2018. Now, I think you may hear more of that from Minister Phipps, who will speak to you. But we need, as a country, to identify the areas where the jobs are and the service which we need our people to provide for our people in our country, and say to our people, if you are willing and able to pursue this area, which is a necessary area of employment, the government will provide the necessary support. It doesn't make any sense because you want to be a lawyer. We have lawyers are almost, no, let me not go there. That would be very disrespectful. And I'm not one to be given to being disrespectful. But we have so many lawyers. Years ago, lawyers were, quote unquote, men. Now, in St. Kitts and Nevis, I may suggest that there are, or maybe if not more than, female than male, it is not very far off. There was a time as well when the medical profession, doctors, surgeons, were whom? Men, male. But now that has been broadened where women, females are in that profession, and the numbers are growing. Oh, let me ask the question, well, what is wrong with nursing? Why can't we have, but you made a very important point, Mr. Allen. In the days of the world wars before Nightingale, the Crimean War, we had lots of wars. On the seas in the Caribbean, who were the persons who provided assistance to those who were injured? Oh? So what happened to them? Men change? They can't serve anymore? We can't care anymore? And those of you young men, and I spoke to all of them this morning, I didn't ask them anything because I assumed, and I assumed correctly, that they're here because they are interested in becoming nurses. I didn't ask them, I assumed it. And I want, just before I sit down, to get them to begin to think broadly of the history of human development, human service, the transition which has occurred over the years. But if we go back to nursing, as I said, when we had the wars in the Caribbean on the high seas and somebody shot a cannon into a boat and broke somebody's legs or shot off their arm, who provided the service? There were the soldiers. And there's something in the military called the medical corps, primarily comprising of soldiers who are primarily and by and large men. So here we are today at this very important conference, trying to encourage and to stimulate an interest in our people to see the nursing profession as one which has no gender bias, which is open once you have the capacity and you apply yourself, you get the training, and you have the necessary innate, as you said, the internal resolve that it could make a difference to yourself. I think there's some serious satisfaction when someone is ill, and whoever you are, male, female, nurse, you can go and provide a service and a caring, and you see that person mend, or that person says, and then you listen to them, thank you, nurse. You ever hear that? Yes. And they don't say, thank you, male nurse. They say, thank you, nurse. What I'm trying to say to us today as we attend this conference, that the Team Unity government is keen on ensuring that our people have and take the opportunities which are available. And this conference is focusing on the opportunity in health services, medical services. Doctor is one part, the nurse is the other part, the technicians and the lab techs and the EMSs are the other parts. So you have that whole. And in that whole, there are ample opportunities for males, females to benefit and to serve our country. And I said, I have deviated, no doubt, from the text, but the text, I think, I hope I have summed up the text in what I have said. And I will not, therefore, submit the text to the press for their scrutiny. The media will have to then submit to me the text of what I've said. It's a little homework for them, right? But ladies and gentlemen, those of us who are here and are interested in the welfare of people, the welfare of our country, the welfare and the future of work, because that is the theme for the ILO and the Social Security. I just came from a Social Security functions, protecting people, providing welfare and support for people. We need to take this seriously. And young men, there are opportunities for you. You don't have to leave school and say, well, I can't get job as X or Y or Z when there is a job as in us. That is set. That's a given. You don't have to be looking for it. It is there waiting for you to grasp it with your hands, your whole heart, and your being. Make a success of yourself. Make a success of your community. Make a success of your country. Your country needs you, young men, and this is the avenue through which you can serve your country and serve it well. God bless you, and I wish this conference all the success that it deserves. God bless you all.